I mean, here, yeah, never mind. Don't believe me? Ask Donald Trump, dude. This was from 1 month ago. Trump, 1 month ago on the campaign, on a campaign trail, but 1 fucking month ago.
The process, all the troops are coming back home. They couldn't stop the process. 21 years is enough, don't we think? 21 years. They couldn't stop the process. They wanted to, but it was very tough to stop the process when other things are at. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. It's a shame. 21 years by a government that wouldn't last. The only way they last is if we're there. What are we going to say? We'll stay for another 21 years, then we'll stay for another 50. The whole thing is ridiculous. So we're bringing our troops back home. I started.
It's a deep fake, brother, right? Pentagon says the U.S. has dropped to 2,500 troops in Afghanistan. The U.S. military has met its goal of reducing the number of troops in Afghanistan to about 2,500 by Friday, a drawdown that may have violated a last-minute congressional prohibition. Trump taking credit for something he actually did. What? Well, now he's not. That's the funniest part. The funniest part is Trump actually, that's your argument? Wait, Trump literally last month saying that we are pulling out of Afghanistan on my negotiations, on my deal, is not enough? Dude, I love Trump supporters, man. You will never be able to convince them, because like they will literally hear Donald Trump say, I did this. Okay, and it was fucking awesome. And then they'll still turn around and be like, oh, no, he didn't do it. Like, I don't care that he actually said he did it. Remember when Trump requested withdrawals of troops and people in the Pentagon and liberal media bragged about fudging the numbers up to keep troops on the field? Yes, I do remember. I was defending Donald Trump. At that point, I was literally, unironically defending Donald Trump. If you guys remember, the only thing I said that I was like worried about is whether the troop withdrawal meant that there was going to be an increase of defense contractors. Donald Trump talked about how he wanted to fucking pull troops out of Afghanistan in nearly every single fucking campaign speech that he gave. Biden faces Trump's deadline on Afghanistan troop withdrawal. Any way you cut it, we are headed for a messy outcome. Oh, wow, look at that. That's back in March. That's crazy, dude. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. The Trump administration literally freed the Mullah Barabar from Pakistani prison. He will now probably be the next president of Afghanistan, the next, like, the Taliban president. The Trump administration literally went to Pakistan, took him out of prison, which he was in for 8 years, and then negotiated with him on, it's Barabar, not Barabar. Shut the fuck up. Barabar. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Took him out of fucking prison and negotiated with him on 9/11 last year. Like, you can't make this up. The U.S. and Taliban have signed an agreement for bringing peace to Afghanistan after more than 18 years of conflict. The U.S. and NATO allies have agreed to withdraw troops within 14 months if militants uphold the deal. President Trump said it had been a long and hard journey in Afghanistan. It's time, after all these years, to bring our people back home, he said.
We've had tremendous success in Afghanistan in the killing of terrorists, but it's time, after all these years, to go and to bring our people back home. We want to bring our people back home. And again, it's been a long journey in Afghanistan in particular. It's been a very long journey. It's been a hard journey for everybody. We're very largely a law enforcement group, and that's not what our soldiers are all about. They're fighters. They're the greatest fighters in the world. As you know, we've destroyed in Syria and Iraq 100% of the ISIS caliphate, 100%.
Why should our...
That's crazy, man. What a wild deep fake that was, right? Wait, didn't Biden change that plan 2 months ago? No, he fucking didn't. What are you talking about? He literally just like followed through on the conditional withdrawal. Dude, chuds are so funny. Like, Trump supporters are so funny. They're like grasping at fucking straws when I show them it's literally Donald Trump. And it's actually Donald Trump's deal. They're now, at first they were saying that's not real. It wasn't Donald Trump's deal. Now they're fucking saying, oh, well, it was Donald Trump's deal, but like Biden fudged it up. No, it was Donald Trump's fucking deal. And Biden is just continuing on that fucking deal. It doesn't matter. They're both at fault anyway.
That's what happened. That's simply what happened.
But we've all seen the pictures. We've seen the...
Did he have to follow through, though? Yeah, no, dude. You know, there's a ceasefire. Since you don't know the fucking details of conditional withdrawal, let me explain it to you. There's a fucking ceasefire, okay, that the Taliban agreed to. And we sucked it up. And even when they killed contractors and shit, still, we didn't do anything. Okay? Because we knew that if we started fucking fighting again, it would be 10 more fucking years of destabilization. Which is against the best interests of the U.S. empire at the time. There was a ceasefire with American forces and the Taliban. And that ceasefire was slated to end. So what did you want? Did you want them to fucking literally... I mean, we're going to get to the Donald Trump video right now in a second. But did you want them to like go back into war?
Those hundreds of people packed into a C-17. We've seen Afghans falling.
That was 4 days ago, 5 days ago.
What did you think when you first saw those pictures?
What I thought was we have to gain control of this. We have to move this more quickly. We have to move in a way in which we can take control of that airport. And
it sounds like you wanted the U.S. to stay there. Fuck no.
we did.
So you don't think this could have been handled, this actually could have been handled better in any way? No mistakes?
No, I don't think it could have been handled in a way that we're going to go back in hindsight and look, but the idea...
Dude, every single president since Carter has had a hand in the situation in Afghanistan. Every single president. Please stop looking at this on partisan lines, you fucking fools. We are talking about war, dude. There is no party line on war. Every single fucking president, no matter if they're Democrat, no matter if they're Republican, has played an active role in the death and devastation in the Middle East and also in Afghanistan. Okay? Stop. I know that this breaks people's brains. I know that this breaks people's brains because they're like, wait a minute, like, I only have one way to understand. I only have one way to understand the news, and that's through like a partisan framework. Like, what you're saying breaks my brain a little bit. There is no party lines when it comes to war, okay? Both parties are slaves of the military-industrial complex, okay? Jesus Christ.
that somehow there's a way to have gotten out without chaos ensuing. I don't know how that happens. I don't know how that happened.
So for you, that was always priced into the decision?
Yes.
soldiers be
Oh shit. Let's listen to the fucking lies told by. Oh, Fox memo details mask requirements and vaccine passport system while the network keeps railing against them for everyone else, by the way. They fucking did it. They found it. Some brave Fox News media member actually leaked it to the media. They did. Look at that. Fox News, dear colleagues, as all of you know, at the top of the hour, there's a 60-second ad break. What? What the fuck? I can't believe... Wait, what? And if you'd like to no longer see the ads, and if you want an ad-free broadcasting experience, all you need to do is subscribe. What? Whether it's for $5 or for free? With a Twitch Prime, you can subscribe for free, or you can use an ad block or a VPN. But Twitch Prime is free if you have an Amazon Prime account. Here's the 1-minute ad break now. What the fuck? That's so crazy that they did that. That they wrote that. No way. Okay, here are some of the steps we're currently taking given the rise of COVID cases nationwide. We've asked all employees, whether on site as part of our essential workforce or working remotely, to upload their vaccination status into Workday. This is being done for space planning and contract tracing purposes in conjunction with the CDC state city health safety guidelines. Last week, we reinstated our on-site COVID testing program every Monday and Thursday for select essential employees due to their work environment within our New York offices. In our New York offices, masks remain optional for vaccinated individuals, but are strongly encouraged in public areas throughout the building. However, we are requiring employees to wear a mask in small, confined spaces with limited opportunities for social distancing. That's so weird. All employees and vendors are required to complete a daily screening ahead of reporting to work. At many locations, you will ask to display either a work care go to work green screen or a Fox Clear Pass to a security representative upon entering the building or workspace. Wow. Additionally, for those of you coping with the stress from the ongoing difficulties posed by the pandemic, they have employee assistance program. Wait, it says that your health and safety are always a top priority. Commie Cole, thank you for the 10 tier 1 gift subs. That's crazy. Isn't this New York regulations? Yeah, but they comply with New York regulations, which means that they are either completely vaccinated or even when they're completely vaccinated, they still have to wear masks. That's really weird that they have that's really, really weird that they have these rules, and yet all the Fox News hosts are fucking crying about it in the news. Almost like these rules help people, and they know that it helps people, which is precisely why they don't have a fucking problem when they have to abide by them or when they go and get the jab.
Mr. President.
But they portray themselves in an entirely different way. They portray themselves in an entirely different way when it comes to, the outward-facing rhetoric.
And thank you for being with us. Let me go back. I've had a number of people tell me that there were very specific conditions and very specific warnings that you gave personally to the Taliban.
Personally.
Joe Biden.
What the fuck? Hal Gayer, thank you for the 71. Why 71? What a strange thing. For the 71 gifted subs.
Biden is trying to blame you. I want first to give you an opportunity to respond to that, your assessment of what's going on, and what was that conversation to the extent you feel you were able to share it with us.
Well, it's good to be with you, Sean, but it's a terrible time for our country. I don't think in all of the years our country has ever been so humiliated. I don't know, would you call it a military defeat or a psychological defeat? There's never been anything like what's happened here. It's you can go back to Jimmy Carter.
No, we didn't watch this yesterday. We watched like 3 clips from it, but I wanted to watch the thing. Var bende var. Okay, thank you.
With the hostages.
Teşekkür ederim. Thank you.
We all thought that was a great embarrassment, and we were pulled out of that by Ronald Reagan. This is many, many times worse, and you're dealing with thousands and thousands of Americans and others that are stranded and very dangerously, really stranded in Afghanistan. So it's something that you can't even believe that a thing like this could. I looked at that big monster cargo plane yesterday with people grabbing the side and trying to get flown out of Afghanistan because of their fear, their incredible fear, and they're blowing off the plane from 2,000 feet up in the air. It's nobody's ever seen anything like that. That blows the helicopters in Vietnam away. That's not even a contest. This has been the most humiliating period of time I've ever seen. Yeah, we had a great deal. We worked on it very hard. Mike Pompeo, a brilliant guy, and many others worked on it endlessly. Meetings with the Taliban. Of course, you have to meet with the Taliban. They're the ones that you're negotiating with. I spoke on numerous occasions to the head of the Taliban, and we had a very strong conversation. I told him up front, I said, look, before we start, let me just tell you right now that if anything bad happens to Americans or anybody else, or if you ever come over to our land, we will hit you with a force that no country has ever been hit with before. A force so great that you won't even believe it. And your village, and we know where it is, and I named it, will be the first one.
Mr.
The first
President, I want to interrupt.
Dropped right there.
You said this to who?
Yeah.
Who did you said that to who?
To Mullah Baradar, who is
The Mullah Baradar, who he got out of Pakistani prison.
probably the top person. Now, nobody really knows who the top person is, but I would say that's probably the top person, and it seems to be that's the way it's rolling right now. But I had a very strong conversation. I also had a good conversation with him. We talked for a while after that. That was the primary point I was making, and he understood it. And I asked him, do you understand? He said, yes, I do understand. And I wanted them to get a deal done with the Afghan government. Now, I never had a lot of confidence, frankly, in Ghani. I said that openly and plainly. I thought he was a total crook. I thought he got away with murder. He spent all his time whining and dining our senators. I mean, the senators were in his pocket. That was one of the problems that we had. But I never liked him. And I guess based on his escape with cash, I don't know, maybe that's a true story. I would suspect it is. All you have to do is look at his lifestyle, study his houses where he lives. He got away with murder in many different ways. But I had a very, very strong talk with the Taliban, which I considered to be much more important in this sense because they were the problem. And they'd been there for a long time, and they're good fighters, and they fight hard. And after I said that, we had a pretty good conversation. Now, I have to tell you that if you remember, when they were coming to Washington to meet with me, they decided to kill an American soldier because they thought that was a good way to negotiate. And I canceled the trip. And we had a conditions-based agreement. And if you remember, it said May 1st, we want to get out because we have to get out. I've listened to people on your show and other shows say we should stay. They don't know. We were spending $42 billion a year. $42 billion. Think of it, $42 billion. I understand Russia spends $50 billion a year for their entire military. We were spending $42 billion, not 1%. They were saying 1%. That's a lot of nonsense. We're spending $42 billion a year on defending this for years and years. We've been there really now, not 20 years, but 21 and a half years. And we get nothing out of any of these things that we do, whether it's them or many other countries I could tell you about. I'm not going to insult anybody right now. But to spend that kind of money and then to have people get on shows and say how inexpensive it was. And I have to tell you also that we lost no soldiers in the last year and a half because of me and because of the understanding that we had. We lost no, think of that. In Chicago and in New York and in other cities in the United States, many people die every weekend. We lost no.
Also under your watch, though. So, like, that's not a massive cap. He's right. There's a reason why they say Chirac. Like, he's not wrong. But you're fucking the president of America. So, kind of weird that you're bringing that up. I mean, he basically admitted everything, dude. He's like admitting every part of this process.
No soldiers in Afghanistan because they knew I wasn't going to put up with it. And that's what happened. So we had a very strong conversation.
Let me ask you this, sir. You know, it's interesting to listen to Joe Biden blame you. I inherited this deal, he kept saying, but he also inherited secure borders, and he also inherited energy independence, and he also inherited 3 vaccines and therapeutics like Regeneron. And we now see what's been unfolding, and he didn't have inflation at the time. I want to go back. I want to be very clear here, because Secretary of State Pompeo on this program said exactly what you did, that there wouldn't be an exit strategy that didn't include the current conditions on the ground. And I have multiple sources, and you're confirming tonight, that it sounds to me like you told the Taliban that if they violated any aspect of this agreement with territorial ambitions, we learned last week that 60% of the country was in their control. And you told them in no uncertain terms, it sounds to me like you would basically treat them like you took care of the caliphate in Syria, ISIS.
Well, we did. We got rid of the caliphate. Everyone said it was impossible, and I did it very quickly, and I let the generals make the decisions. The generals, the real generals, the ones that were over there doing the fighting, the ones that knew how to do it, because we have a lot of generals that shouldn't be generals right now, frankly. And I'm watching them all the time. But we have some great ones. We have great leaders in our military. We have the greatest military in the world. And we're giving it a very bad reputation by what's happening. Think of it. We took this horrible place. I mean, a place that just we shouldn't have been involved. It was a horrible decision going into the Middle East. And I know the Bush family will not be happy, but I believe it was the worst decision in the history of our country when we decided to go into the Middle East. It's turned out to be quicksand. We've destroyed the Middle East. Do you think it's better now than it was 20, 21 years ago? It's much worse. It was a horrible decision, cost us trillions of dollars. And if you look at both sides, because I like to look at both sides, millions and millions of lives. And it's no different than it was. It's much worse because you have to rebuild it. It's been blown to pieces. The worst decision ever made was going, you can do a strike as retribution, and it could be a big strike as retribution for the World Trade Center, etc.
Bro, he literally dropped a Moab, the mother of all bombs, in Afghanistan, like as one of the first things that he did, for literally no reason, like absolutely zero reason, dude. I do find it really funny though that like whenever Trump is spitting, he's fucking spitting. Like, he's right. Like everything he's saying, from, you know, fighting, going into Afghanistan was one of the worst foreign policy mishaps of all time. Like, he's right.
But to get stuck in there was like quicksand. So we did a terrible thing. But think of what's happening now. I've heard as many as 40,000 Americans. And the Taliban, good fighters, I will tell you, they're good fighters. We have to give them credit for that. They've been fighting for 1,000 years. That's what they do, is they fight. The Taliban has circled the airport.
Bro, yo, I wish I was a Republican, dude. Straight up. Like, you get away with everything when you're a Republican. Like, everything. Like, my man said, the Taliban are fucking great fighters, dude. Can you imagine any leftist that says that? Immediately, like, wow, I can't believe this person, like, unironically loves the Taliban. Why are you defending the Taliban? You love Taliban. Like, can you imagine Ilhan, yeah, as Chatter pointed out, like, an Ilhan Omar take like that? Imagine Obama saying that. Like, liberal media fucking ripped Bernie a new asshole for saying that, like, the Cuba literacy programs were, like, good and shit like that. You know what I mean? Meanwhile, Donald Trump is literally like, the Taliban, they're fucking based. They're based. It's a Maoist revolution. I love it. Let me tell you, that guy Mao, he has some good ideas. Wrote a lot of poetry. You ever read his poetry? Very good. The People's Revolution, they're revolting. You have nothing to lose but your chains, I said. And like Republicans are like, yeah, brother. I fucking love that, brother. That's so good. Yeah, Joe Pags was losing his fucking mind when I was saying the exact same things as Trump. Why do Americans scrutinize Democrats more than Republicans? Because Republicans own patriotism. Mao, he was a deal maker. If you say racist shit, you can get away with it, bro. LMAO. Yeah, I mean, as long as you accompany it by being like, they're dogs, they're animals, Our military members, they're so hot. They're so fucking hot. I would have sucked their cocks. Then you can say whatever you want. You know what I mean?
And who knows if they're going to treat us right. You know, all of a sudden they'll say, well, frankly, if they were smart, they'd really, and they are smart, they should let the Americans out. But we've had situations where you have 2 or 3 or 4 hostages. We could have 40,000 Americans, not to mention others, like people that helped us in Afghanistan. So we've never had a situation like this. We have 40,000 potential.
The Taliban, they're so smart. I love them. They're so smart. They're so handsome. You see what they're doing? They put on that eyeliner. They call it guy liner. I like it. People are saying it's good to get the sweat out of their eye. That's why they're such good shots. They're crack shots. Our soldiers, they're losers. They're losers. Some of the generals, they're handsome. But they don't have guy liner. Believe me. That's why I said to our handsome generals, I told them, you look like you're out of central casting. Come here. I told them, use guy liner in the U.S. military. Believe me. And the generals said no. Oh, man.
Hostages, a minimum of 11,000, but it could be as many as 40. No, they have no idea how many. Nobody knows how many. They don't know anything.
When Joe Biden told the country that he trusted that the Afghan military was so far superior and they were over 300,000 strong and they had an air force and we wouldn't see what happened in Saigon, he couldn't have been more wrong.
Someone should ask Donald Trump why he didn't facilitate the troop withdrawal in the 4 years of his fucking presidency if he was going to do it better. Like, if liberal media treated Donald Trump evenly in the same way that they do, like, anyone who goes against war, which will never happen, they would unironically be like, don't you feel like you are responsible for the death and destruction that befalls upon the Afghan citizens by not taking decisive and quick action and leaving it to the next administration, which you did everything in your power to undermine in the transition because you were too busy doing a fucking tour, a world tour about how you actually hadn't lost the election and, you know, driving up your own support for an insurrectionist movement that ultimately led to the January 6th Capitol riots? That's the question you got to ask him. Like, you were too busy doing that shit instead of fucking, you know, pod kid in there.
But let me go back to the words you used to the Taliban leader, because we knew last week that 60% of the country had already been taken over by the Taliban. And there was no sense of urgency. To me, under your plan, if they had taken over 5%, not 60, like they had last, 5% that was not in your agreement, what would have happened to them?
we would have hit them very hard. Again, the words are conditions, plural, conditions based. It was an agreement where actually we wanted to get out by May 1st, and they violated the agreement, so we didn't. It's a great agreement from a lot of different standpoints. And frankly, Biden didn't have to even go by that agreement. He could have done. Look what he's done to the border. We had the greatest border, southern border, in the history of.
Once again, literally admitting that Biden is just following the terms of the agreement that he put together. Sorry.
Our country. We stopped drugs. We stopped human trafficking. We stopped people from coming in, prisoners from coming in. Now you'll have, you have the worst people in the world. They're emptying their jails into our country. This is like the southern border, but it's handled even worse. Nobody handled the southern border worse than him. We had the most secure border we've ever had. Now we have by far the worst border we've ever had. Well, Afghanistan is the exact same thing. To think of this, we have a military. It's holding it. I got it reduced down to 2,500 soldiers, and they were doing a good job. It was fine. It was a smaller force. I took it down from close to 20 to 2,500, and we were fine. But we have the military there, and we take the military out before we took our civilians out, and before we took the interpreters and other. We want to try and help. But by the way, I'm America first, okay? The Americans come out first. But we're also going to help people that helped us. And we have to be very careful with the vetting because you have some rough people in there. But we're going to help those people. But can you imagine? Now, what we were going to do just very quickly is we were going to take the military out last, okay, last. The people were coming out. They were going to come out. But the agreement was violated. So I held things back because we weren't going to do anything, again, conditions based. So they weren't fulfilling their obligations and conditions.
He's literally admitting that, he didn't follow the terms of his own agreement, making it more complicated to do a full withdrawal in the immediate first month of the Biden presidency. He's basically just saying he held things back, which I see as an admission that he was still fucking it up.
But here's just to finish. The people come out first. Then I was going to take all of the military equipment. We have billions and billions of dollars worth of new Black Hawk helicopters, brand new, that Russia now will be examining, and so will China, and so will everybody else to figure it because it's the greatest in the world. We have brand new army tanks and all sorts.
He said the Taliban violated the agreement. I understand that. Except he then said that he pushed back the evacuation. He personally pushed back on the evacuation of military personnel, implying that he himself also took actions that would have stopped the actual conditional agreement from being executed, literally all the way to the end of said agreement, which was going to be dealt with on, I think it was May 1st, right? Jason Allen, you are correct. Trump did do the same thing in Syria, but the Republicans loved it then. But also, there's a government in Syria, so that's a major difference. Whereas the puppet government that we had installed in Afghanistan, that was not real. I'm not a fucking, Lion of Syria fan myself. But ultimately, the reality is that he still does have a government and a military. Remember when he said he told their leader that they'd destroy them if any of their men were killed, and then when they did that, he didn't do that? Yeah, of course, because it's a fucking lie. Do you think he intentionally dumped it on Biden, knowing it would be a PR disaster? No, I think he's this is one of those areas where he is a bit of an outsider. And so he knows, he's so good. He's got such a keen eye for recognizing what American people want. And he noticed that this was an unpopular war, and it was just fucking killing kids and not Afghan kids, of course. He didn't give a fuck about that. They're brown. Who gives a shit? But he 100% was like, Americans don't want this anymore. You know what I mean? And we can use our resources elsewhere. You know, we can go fucking fight in Africa. You know what I mean? All these other places. So he most likely thought that he was going to be the president when the pullout was happening. And I personally believe he wouldn't have pulled out. Because if he was going to pull out, he would have fucking pulled out in the beginning of his out of context clip. Wait, what? What did I say? I personally think that he thought he was still going to be president, and he most likely was not going to pull out in the end. Because he is a lot more susceptible to pressure than, for some weird reason, like Biden was. Or at least Biden recognized that. Biden basically recognized that, you know, the public wanted this. Now, attitudes are changing because the media is like pumping a steady diet of misinformation. But I think like Biden has an opportunity to fucking say that, you know, this is what was necessary. It was always going to be a fuck up. I'm going to be an adult about it, and I'm taking responsibility, even though it's not entirely my responsibility. I was an opponent, sorry, of the troop surge under the Obama administration when I was fucking vice president, which is true. He wanted to send in still a surge, but not 100,000, less troops, but still. It was a fuck up in 2001. It was a fuck up when I was vice president. And it's still a fuck up, and I had to do the right thing by the Afghan civilians and the right thing by our American soldiers. But your Democrat is coming out? Wait, what? How is that your Democrat is coming out? I literally just said it was a massive policy failure and a fuck up that was devastating, including the fucking troop surge under the Obama administration when he was the vice president. You think Democrats actually fucking think that? What are you, silly? Democrats think Obama has never done anything wrong except like wear a fucking tan suit.
Sorts of equipment, missiles, we have everything. I was going to take it out because I knew they weren't going to fight. Just one thing, and I have to say, and this is different from everyone else, I said, why are they fighting? Why are these Afghan soldiers fighting against the Taliban? And I was told some very bad information by a lot of different people. The fact is, they're among the highest paid soldiers in the world. They were doing it for a paycheck because once we left, they stopped fighting. So all of the people that talk about the bravery and everything, I say everybody's brave. But the fact is, our country was paying the Afghan soldiers a fortune. So we were sort of bribing them to fight. And that's not what it's all about. It's a great thing that we're getting out, but nobody has ever.
No, he's not wrong. He's not wrong. He's right. The problem is, okay, here's what the issue is, guys. He's not wrong. He's completely correct. The problem is the actual end point he arrives at. The premises are correct. It's just that he arrives at the wrong conclusion. The conclusion is that Afghans are cowards and they're only mercenaries. The real conclusion is that they just didn't want to fucking fight the Taliban for an occupying force. You see what I'm saying? And they were going to continue getting money as much as they can, but the real reason was like they want stability. They don't want fucking endless war. He also did say that they were brave, including the Afghan National Security and the Taliban. He literally said the Taliban are fucking incredible fighters.
Never handled a withdrawal worse than Joe Biden. This is the greatest embarrassment, I believe, in the history
That's a bit far. He literally said that. They're highly paid, the Afghan security forces? No, they're not highly paid.
of our country.
Mr. President, we don't.
The Taliban were like unironically better paid than the Taliban is actually a very well-paid, well-oiled machine. They get a fuckload of Wahhabist funding.
I don't know how many Americans are trapped behind enemy lines. We know that the Taliban have set up a perimeter around the airport. I guess the question is, how do we get our people home now? What would you advise? What would you do if you were put into this situation right now and dropped in and you were to take over? What is the answer? Because we don't know where they are. Senator Tom Cotton literally said that people are being told to go to a website. Don't call anymore. Go to a website, he said. I'm like, please tell me we have a better plan than that. Joe's been on vacation. I just heard that apparently he landed back at the White House. Nice of him to return.
And he only returned because he was getting...
Bro. You're talking to Donald Trump, dude. He literally is the record holder for most vacations. What do you mean? Like, not to be too much of a lib, but Donald Trump literally holds the record for most like off days, golf days out of any president. Not a single president will ever reach his number. He broke, yeah, he did break that in like the first year too. That's so funny. They're like, I can't believe Joe Biden is on vacation. Which, by the way, yeah, I mean, yeah, why is he on vacation? That's actually a correct take there. He should not be on fucking vacation when you know that like your troops are withdrawing. But the real reason why Joe Biden is on vacation when the troops are withdrawing is because he's not actually on vacation. He's in a fucking vat, okay? He's in a vat, and he's strapped up to a bunch of fucking, fluid pumping machines that is directly pumping adrenochrome into his goddamn old-ass, brittle-boned body so that he can at least go on stage and like, yeah, Jack Malarkey for like 3.5 minutes, okay? That's the real reason why he's not on scene and on call 24/7 during this fucking troubling time.
Terrible press. Okay, he didn't return for any other reason. And I don't even believe he's calling the shots. Look, what you need more than anything is a president that's respected. You need a president that got rid of ISIS. We got 100% got rid of ISIS. We did a job. Al-Baghdadi, I won't even mention all of the things that we did. Nobody's ever done what we've done. We were respected all over the world. China was paying us billions and billions of dollars of tariffs. Companies were moving back into our country, and China respected us. And frankly, they respected me. But you look, Russia, I had the pipeline stopped, totally stopped. Biden comes in, he approves that pipeline, but he disapproves the Keystone XL pipeline. You need a president that's respected. I've never realized how important, frankly, and it's a horrible thing to say, how important a president, the head of this country, is. I thought it would maybe run through bureaucracy. It doesn't. You need somebody up there that they're going to respect. So when they say, oh, he talked to the Taliban, you remember they were criticizing me. They criticized me when I talked to Kim Jong-un. Well, President Biden told me it's the single biggest problem we have. I said, have you ever called him? Have you ever talked to him? No, I haven't. He did try, but it was not receptive on the other side. But it was receptive with me. Now, we were supposed to have a war, and probably a very big nuclear war. I get along with him great, and I got along with him great. He doesn't like Biden much, I'll tell you that. But I got along with him great. And we had no problems. You remember that. We were virtually, remember the big button versus the little button and the whole thing. Let me tell you, we get along great. We had a very good relationship. We met. We got no credit for that one. no problem. By the way, South Korea, I got them to pay billions of dollars, billions. We're protecting South Korea. They're very wealthy. They built the ships. They build the televisions. They do everything. They're very rich. They were paying us nothing. I got them to pay billions and billions of dollars because we're protecting them from North Korea. And I had a very good relationship with President Moon and all of the people in South Korea. In fact, they liked me and I liked them. But I said, why are we doing this for nothing? Japan, the same thing. So many. We're protecting the world. We can't do this. We're not supposed to be doing this. If you look at Russia, if you look at China,
He's so good, dude. I think the liberal consultants that don't let Joe Biden go off book like this are doing such a disservice to him. They actually are. Because, like, he's so funny, dude. I hate watching long-form Trump clips because my once normal parents eat this up now. But he's insane, dude. He's literally insane. He's like, they had so much money. Look at their TVs. LG. They got cars. They got TVs. They have so much money. So I made them. Why are you molding? I'm not. What do you mean? What? I mean, he is the definition of old man yells at cloud, but he does it in such an entertaining way.
how many countries are they fighting for? One. You ask them. They're fighting for Russia. They're fighting for China. They're not fighting for 93 different countries all over the world. Most of them, nobody ever heard of them. So we had a very, very strong conversation with the mullah. And frankly, it absolutely, they would not have done what they've done right now. This is the greatest embarrassment and beyond embarrassment. This is something that it will affect our relationships for years to come and decades to come. I will say, when China watches this, they're so happy and they're laughing at us. They're laughing. I extracted billions and billions of dollars out of China. Never happened. We never got 10 cents from China. Billions and billions. They were so happy to see a rigged election. They might have helped it along, actually, but they were so happy. But, Sean, I'll tell you what, this is the greatest embarrassment that I've ever seen. This is, and you know it better than you do it.
My man's still saying rigged election, dude. You got to respect it. He is high off that copium, dude. I mean, he is so high off that fucking copium, dude.
Incredible job in covering it, and I appreciate it. The whole country appreciates it. This is the greatest embarrassment in the history of our country. There's never been, and let me tell you, we haven't stopped. This is not ending. Again, we have all of those thousands of Americans over there and others, and you're saying, how are they going to get? They have a Taliban ring around the airport. They said nobody else. Now, they're saying we'll negotiate, but do you really think, I mean, their history is that they're very brutal and they don't like to negotiate. That's their history. And Biden put us in this position. He should have gotten the civilians out first. Then he should have taken the military equipment. We have billions of dollars of brand new, beautiful equipment. Take the equipment out and then take the soldiers.
That's literally not how that works. Like, even I know that. Like, I wasn't the president. And I know that you're not, like, America has never taken out the equipment. Okay? That does not happen. They blow it up. Because the equipment is incredibly expensive to fucking ship back. America has never fucking airlifted their equipment back. Why do people hate Trump? I never know why. What? Because he's a fucking asshole, dude. What do you mean? He's like a brutal person. It's cheaper to buy more. It's better to buy more. You know, we're already paid for more anyway. The only fucking the only good thing about Trump is that he's just like a real petty bitch who loves drama.
Out. And frankly,
what about Blackhawks though? They can literally fly them back. What? Fly them back to America, dude? What kind of take is this, dude? Like there are some equipment that I'm sure they fucking fly back, but you make it seem like wait, not fly back to like America, but like fly to different bases if it's like close enough. But do you understand how expensive it would be to like fly a Black Hawk helicopter to a fucking base that's outside of Afghanistan? Even then. So what happens is some additional info. So what happens is, yes, U.S. Army to scrap $7 billion in equipment in Afghanistan. This is what happens. You go in there and you fucking in preparation for a complete exit from Afghanistan. By the way, this was in 2013. The U.S. military has destroyed more than 170 million pounds worth of military equipment. So you blow it up and you leave it in a state of disrepair, so you can't like repair it. You can't fly a Black Hawk to Germany? Exactly. Like, you can't do that. Fly to a Navy carrier? Yeah, dude. A Navy carrier that costs $3 million a day to fucking operate. Let's just move another Navy carrier, which doesn't have space, for a fucking Black Hawk. Like, dude, your comprehension of like how American imperialism works is so funny, dude. Yeah, bring a fucking Navy carrier into the goddamn desert, dude. Landlocked ass Afghanistan. But how do these guns get there in the first place? They shipped them in. It's useful to spend a fuckload of money shipping in weapons when they're new, so you can use it on civilians and also the Taliban. Okay? It's no longer useful to you because there's new versions of that. And also on top of that, like, why the fuck would you ship back trash like it's shot at? It's secondhand. This guy's opinion is literally based off video game logic. Oh, you mean you're talking to the chatters, right? Not me. Navy here. We definitely help store, extract vehicles, aircraft equipment. Yeah, if there's new fucking things or if there's shit that hasn't been shot up. But you're not going to fucking extract Humvees, dude. Why would you do that? And even some like older equipment. Chatter is concerned for the Black Hawk. Don't worry, brother. They'll get good use out of that.
I said, take the soldiers out, but before you leave, blow up all the forts, because we built these forts that are being now.
Wait. On the one hand, you shit on the Afghans for not getting paid. On the other hand, he's saying we should blow up the forts? So where are the Afghan security forces supposed to fight out of?
Used by the enemy. It's
They
not
left
even
everything.
believable.
You know, it's interesting because I'm watching both Russia and China race in, and they want to recognize the Islamic Emirates of Afghanistan almost immediately. You know, it's funny. I mentioned to you that I had numerous sources that said that apparently a lot of people are on your phone calls. I know everyone wanted to release the Ukraine call. They said what we really need to do is release the calls between President Trump and the head of the Taliban. And maybe while we're at it, we can release some of the calls with President Trump and President Xi, because America might be shocked to hear how strong you were and forceful you were in a lot of these conversations.
Walk, 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 walk.
Which leads me to a question about what's going on with China and Russia. They're both arming Iran, putting that aside. But China in particular has threatened our military bases, Japan's military bases. They lectured our country in front of our Secretary of State, not Mike Pompeo, Blinken, in Anchorage about human rights, of all things, after COVID. And then the communist Chinese are saying we need to beg for permission to land in Taiwan. And their propaganda newspaper is suggesting that America won't lift a finger to help our ally Taiwan if, in fact, they have reunification, which we both means they want to take over Taiwan. And I'm not sure. I disagree with that assessment. I don't believe Joe Biden would lift a finger to help Taiwan. Your thoughts on the new aggressive nature of China?
Well, I had a great relationship with President Xi, a really great relationship. We got along great until COVID.
He's about to be like, Taiwan who? I don't know her. Guess what? Do you mean China? I have a great relationship with President Xi.
Even though I taxed the hell out of them through the tariffs, they weren't happy. But I had a very good relationship. And we met at Mar-a-Lago. And I told him very strongly, do not do anything having to do with Taiwan. Just don't do it. And I said it much stronger than that. I'm not going to say.
Oh, I didn't realize the United States recognized Taiwan. Since when? I mean, he was the president. If he wanted to fucking exert. That's always the funniest part when, like, conservatives try to be like, conservatives will engage in, like, China posturing. But the reality is that, like, our neoliberal oligarchs, our elites are, of course, they love China. They do a lot of business with China. So the reality is that, like, no matter what these guys are, these idiots are saying, it literally doesn't matter. What matters is someone like Michael Bloomberg, who will openly state, based Dengist, ex-New York mayor, ex-Republican, ex-Democrat, Michael Bloomberg. They don't give a fuck about, like, genuinely agitating against China. They're just using that as, like, political posturing domestically. They don't, like, ultimately, all of our business is still incredibly reliant on China.
Say exactly how, but it was said very strongly. This wasn't a call. This was sitting in a sofa at Mar-a-Lago with a meeting that was supposed to last 15 minutes before we went on to various other things within, with our different people. But it lasted for hours. We got along great. The first half hour I said, do not do anything having to do with Taiwan. I know you want to. Do not do it. Anyway, then the election gets rigged, and we end up with a different president. And what happens? There are bombers now last week, 28 bombers flying over Taiwan. And this happened a week after the election. They were...
Oh, yeah, there's military exercises, right?
All of a sudden, I think bad things are going to happen with respect to Taiwan because they don't respect our leadership and they no longer respect our country. And that's a really bad thing. China does not respect us any longer. And they had more respect for us just 7 months ago than they ever had for this country.
Let me ask you about the border was one of your big issues, sir. You had put in place the Stay in Mexico policy. You built over 500 miles of border wall. You ended catch and release. Okay, well, now the Stay in Mexico policy is gone.
Oh, my God. Every time there's, like, dead air, you just keep hearing the guac, 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 guac over and over again. It's wild that Sean Hannity can consider this anything but a straight suck. It's just like, sir, your cock is large. It's bulbous. It's veiny. It's vascular. It's great. Perfectly shaped. I love it. I love stroking it. I just wanted to tell you, sir, you are the greatest thing that's ever happened. You are my alpha and my omega. Okay, sir? Please, insert thy cock. It's so good. Sir, I love you. You are the best. It's hot boy summer in Afghanistan. Oh, God, what the fuck? No.
Summer in Afghanistan. So it's hot boy summer in Afghanistan, and the Taliban is having the time of their life.
Are you fucking kidding me, dude? Are you fucking kidding? Oh, my God. The amount of content that the Taliban have given us over the course of this past fucking, like, 3-day excursion is so crazy. You are biased the other way, though. You do the same thing. You think I suck off Joe Biden? Are you fucking delusional, dude? Were you not here 3.5 minutes ago when I was talking about how he's literally locked away in a fucking vat somewhere, being pumped adrenochrome into his body?
The wall construction has ended, and it's no longer catch and release. It's process and release. In the middle of a pandemic, you've seen the cages that are overcrowded with all of these illegal immigrants, a high rate of COVID positivity. There's no vaccine mandates, vaccine passports, mask mandates for illegal immigrants that many states are putting and burdening American people with. And those people are then being dispersed all over the country. Wow. A big change that 7 months can make, and now it's going to be millions of people. What was your reaction? What is your reaction?
I've never seen anything like what was happening and what is happening now at our southern border. All he had to do is nothing. We had the greatest remain in Mexico. People weren't even allowed into our country, and we won that in the courts. It was very tough. The wall.
All we had to do is nothing.
Was almost completed. It could have been built in another month. They delayed me 2.5 years when Congress, the Democrats in Congress, sued me. We never had a border anywhere like it. And then almost immediately they ended these policies. Catch and release. You catch them and release them into our country instead of catching them and bringing them back to their country. And many of these people are stone cold and very hard convicts and prisoners. They're very tough. I mean, literally.
No, they're not.
As I said, they are emptying their jails, and not just the 3 countries, not just Honduras.
That's pretty funny because, like, this is literally what the Turks are saying about Afghanistan right now. That's why they're emptying their jails and sending them here. It's like, no, they're not. First of all, why would they empty their jails, you fucking idiot? I mean, the Taliban is a different situation, obviously, but, like, why? Why would a fucking hardened rapist criminal that is leaving the jail be like, all right, I guess I'm going to America now? Like, how do you motivate them to come to America? There's no guarantee that they're going to get in. They would just literally go and do if they're, unstoppable forces of rape and murder, they would just go back and do the rape and murder in their hometowns where it's much easier to do the rape and murder. It makes no fucking sense. You just literally have to ask this question, like why? How? They're opening up their jails? Like, why would any government risk opening up their fucking jails with no guarantee that prisoners that they've opened up from their jails are going to come to America? The possibility of freedom? Bitch, what do you mean? The possibility of freedom is given to them in that literal fucking hypothetical that Trump totally pulled out of his ass. It's called opening up the jails. That's it. That's step 1. There is no step 2. There's no guarantee that you can get into America. So why would you fucking walk all the way to America? You just do crime. If you can't stop doing crime, you just do it in your country. America, dude. Yeah. I love leaving the country where they've supposedly abolished prisons and going to the country that has, the highest jailed population, both in totality and per capita. Dude, if you fucking link this one more time to me, I'm just gonna fucking yeet you for, you get a 1 day off, you're gonna get a fucking full week off, okay?
Honduras and Guatemala and El Salvador.
I'm in the middle of doing commentary. You're like, dude, oh my God, look at this link. It's like, no, I'm not going to look at this link. Yeah.
Many countries are coming in and they're emptying out their prisons and letting them come into our country. And they're walking in caravans and other ways. What's happening? So I never saw anything so stupid in my life until the last few days with Afghanistan. That blows the stupidity of the southern border away. What happened and what is happening in Afghanistan is unbelievable. And we're being set up by very tough people that are very great negotiators. I'll tell you what, they're great, automatically great negotiators. They've been fighting for 1,000 years, and everything about them they negotiate. We're being set up. They have all of those people, and in a certain way, I guarantee you, they consider them to be hostages. And let's see what happens over the coming weeks. But this is not a story that just ended today or yesterday. This is a story that's going to go on for a long time, and it could be a very, very bad ending.
We have Americans caught behind enemy lines right now, and we were told this could never happen, and it happened. Let me ask you about energy. One of the reasons I had, for many years, been an advocate of energy independence, because what happens in the
Bro, Trump is literally sucked off the Taliban in this interview harder than Sean Hannity has sucked off Donald Trump. Like, he has not stopped sucking off the Taliban. They're so good. Have you seen how hot they are? Some of them, they got great drip. At first, I thought, what is that, a dress? I don't understand it. And then I realized, you know what? I would wear that too. You know, I'd have my balls breezy against the wind underneath. They like to wear slides too. I hate wearing shoes. They wear slides all the time. And then they're using American weapons. They look so sexy, so hot. The chiseled abs and the sun-kissed skin, believe me. And then they wear the guy liner. Let me tell you, the guy liner, oh my God, they are so sexy, the Taliban. Best negotiators, sexiest fighters. I mean, our generals, they're like from Central Casting. But the Taliban, they're so hot. They're hot, hot, hot.
The Straits of Hormuz and in the Middle East are not really that important. You accomplished something in your administration. I don't think you got a lot of credit for it, but you made America energy independent for the first time in 75 years. I don't think in the last months of your administration you imported a single barrel of oil from Saudi Arabia, for example.
Zero.
Not one. And now we just had in the last 2 weeks, Joe Biden begging OPEC to increase production because it still is the lifeblood of the world's economy. My question is, with gas up $1.30 a gallon, this is now a new tax on the American people. That means the cost of delivering every single product in every grocery store, drugstore, every Homes Depot and Lowe's is costing Americans more, and inflation on top of it at 5.4%, a 15-year high. Your reaction to that aspect of the economy alone?
So energy independence was one of my greatest achievements, I thought. I think the vaccine, energy independence, what we did on the border, frankly, Afghanistan would have been great. We would have been out, and we would have been out with dignity and with pride, and it would have worked out great. None of this stuff going. This, though, again, it's not the concept of leaving. It's the way they withdrew. It was not even possible to believe. But gasoline, as you know, was $1.87 when I was leaving office. And now it's going to be up to over $5 very soon. And they're talking to OPEC. I know the OPEC people very well. You talk about negotiators, they're killing us. And what you didn't say is that Biden failed with OPEC. They told him no on the cutbacks. They failed with OPEC. To think that we're back to negotiating with OPEC, that's how we got into the Middle East years ago, because we needed the energy, and we went into the Middle East and would protect countries because we needed the energy. We didn't have to do that anymore. We were energy independent, And now those wells are shut down and those jobs are gone. And Keystone is, and its numbers 48,000 jobs, not 8,000 jobs. Those people, and they lied in the campaign because Biden never talked about closing up Keystone. He said, oh, well, we'll look at it. We'll look at it. They were lying because it was almost the first day that.
Stop saying based. He says shit like this all the time. Like, he literally, dude, that is like, that's at the heart of Trump's success. His, like, incredibly successful populist rhetoric is that he says truths that other American elites, whether they're Republican or Democrat, won't say. We went there for oil. We went there for oil. We needed oil. That's why we went in. Like, that's a great fucking way to, you know, have a bunch of people's ears perk up. Bro, this guy has only said, stop projecting, dumbass. This is, look at this. Look. This is why Ludwig cuts you out of his thumbnails. This is why Ludwig cuts you out of his thumbnails. Since 422. Periodically. You all right, dude? Are you okay? Is your brain all right? Hey, don't make me ban you in Ludwig's chat, motherfucker. I will do it. I will do it. Especially because if I ban you, you won't be able to subscribe. And if you can't subscribe, you will have to see the ads at the top of the hour. Yeah, that's right. Every time I run an ad at the top of the hour for 60 seconds, you will be forced to watch it. Now, of course, there's a way that you don't have to watch those ads. And that way is by subscribing. For $5 or for free with a Twitch Prime, okay, you get to avoid the ads and have an ad-free broadcasting experience. You can also use an ad block or a VPN. I'm going to fucking ban this guy before he actually... I'm going to ban this guy. Damn, dude, can I imagine what kind of a basement dweller you are? Yeah, I'm going to ban him before he subscribes, so now he has to watch the ad. But, yeah, you can use an ad block or a VPN. Get fucked. But the Twitch Prime is free. Here's the ad now.
They closed up Keystone, and those workers are devastated. And the head of the union, they all support me, but the head of the union supported Biden, and they ought to throw him the hell out because he was worthless, because look what happened. But they lied about so many things. They lied about energy. They lied about Keystone. They lied about the military. They lied about so much. Our country is in such trouble.
Mr. President, you touched on Russia. I want to go back to it because we saw these massive cyber attacks in their energy grid and also our food line, especially with our meats in this country. And then we also witnessed, and you referenced it earlier in the interview, the waiver that you prevented Vladimir Putin from getting, which allowed him to build the pipeline that is literally the lifeblood of the economy of our allies in Western Europe, while simultaneously cutting out the Keystone XL pipeline, high-paying career jobs for Americans. And I've got to ask, because if it was you or your sons, and let's see, what do they have in common? Russia, Hunter Biden got a lot of money. China, they didn't do a deal with Goldman Sachs. They didn't do a deal with Deutsche Bank. They did a deal with Hunter Biden, $1.5 billion, with the Bank of China. And again, the Joe Biden has said nothing to threats against our military or, quote, reunification threats with Taiwan, or you must get permission to land an airplane in Taiwan, which I never thought would happen, or get lectured on human rights. My question then is, if the last name was Trump and your sons were making money in China, Russia, Kazakhstan.
Bro, the only reason why his son-in-law and also his daughter did actually make money in China, But the only reason why the other two incompetent dipshits didn't make money in China is because they suck. And the only reason why his like true son, Jared Kushner, you know, his son-in-law, actually was able to, again, not make money in China is because he was a fucking failure. He literally used his connections in the government to try to sell the 666 Fifth Avenue or whatever shitty ass building to Chinese developers. They routinely actually tried to cut deals with China by using their government access.
Ukraine. If your sons lied on a gun application,
You know what's funny? I do the same thing that Sean Hannity does, like not the the sucking of pee-pee, but I do the
and threw that gun.
I do the same thing that Sean Hannity does, where I will also ask a question for like 7.5 minutes whenever I have a guest on. But I'm like, whenever I do that, I'm just trying to like offer context and like, give additional feedback and information. Sean uses all 5 of those minutes to suck off Trump's pee-pee and then turn around with like the last question and then turn around and pose a question where he will just be like, why are you the greatest president that's ever existed in the history of mankind?
In a garbage basket or waste basket. If your sons were on video with smoking crack and with hookers, would the question not logically become, do you believe these countries have compromising materials, potentially, the very thing, remember Adam Schiff, compromising materials, on Trump when they didn't have it and he was being scammed. Do you see any potential for compromise here? Because it doesn't make sense to me to give Putin a waiver.
So this story, the new tape.
I'm sorry, I got to run that back. Yeah, he did an accent. We have to.
Materials. In materials, potentially, the very thing, remember Adam Schiff, compromising materials.
I have. Okay, one more time? Should we do one more time? One more time.
In materials, potentially, the very thing, remember Adam Schiff, compromising materials. When they didn't have it and he was being scammed, do you see any potential for compromising materials? Compromising materials. Compromising materials. Compromising materials.
Okay, dude. I mean, that's good shit. You motherfuckers really don't deserve me. You know that? A lot of you talk so much shit nonstop, like, me. Your accents are so bad. Can you imagine if I was doing this kind of Slavophobia? Like, he's supposed to try to make it sound like he's a Slav, and instead he sounds Italian, dude.
On Trump, when they didn't have it and he was being scammed, do you see any potential for compromise here? Because it doesn't make sense to me to give Putin a waiver.
So this story, the new tape that just came out 2 days ago, has not been on any mainstream media at all. It was on your show and a couple of shows, but no mainstream. It wasn't on NBC or CBS or ABC. It wasn't on CNN. It wasn't on any. It's Hunter Biden. It's the worst thing I've seen. You can't even imagine this. And look, I hope families live well. But what they're doing is they're doing political persecutions with their prosecutors, whether they're local or federal. And our people didn't do that. The Republicans don't do it to anywhere. I mean, it's like a different world. They use prosecutors for persecution. And it's happening. And our country is angry about it, and they see it. But what's going on with Hunter and China and Russia and all of that. I mean, they go after people for tiny little things. And here's somebody that took vast amounts of money out of China and out of Ukraine and out of Russia. $3.5 million from the mayor's wife, and Chris Wallace wouldn't let me talk about that during a debate. He wouldn't even let me bring it up. Well, that has nothing to do. I said, it has a lot to do with it. But it's a very sad period of time for our country. Everything's going bad. We have inflation. The economy's going to go to hell. We have inflation like we haven't seen in a long time. I think it's much worse if you look just at energy. And when energy goes up, everything goes up because it's all about energy. Everything goes up. But you look at the price of food where it's being doubled and tripled in some cases. We're going to have inflation that's good. And I remember with Jimmy Carter, and the good thing is for Jimmy is that Jimmy's looking like a much better president right now because you're comparing, you always have to have comparisons. But I remember with Jimmy Carter, with the big inflation, the prime rate went to 21%, and the country came to a halt, worse than a halt. Well, I'll tell you, we better get our act together. That's all I can say. You look at what's going on with our economy and with inflation and so many other things. Anwar in Alaska, biggest drilling site in the world. I got it open. Ronald Reagan couldn't do it. Nobody could do it for 67. They've been trying for 60, 70 years. I got it done. And it was just terminated. The biggest site in the world. Probably bigger than Saudi Arabia in terms of oil. I got it done, and they just terminated it. And the people of Alaska are very upset, okay? They are very upset with their Senator Murkowski and others. But here's the greatest thing, and they ended it. So we had energy independence, and now we don't.
Instead of begging OPEC, Governor Abbott, and we're praying for him tonight. I know that he announced that he had COVID today, a breakthrough.
Fake news, of course. I mean, COVID, it's not that big of a deal.
Another breakthrough case. Instead of begging OPEC, why don't we just go back to doing what was working for you? Instead of allowing millions of people into this country with a high rate of COVID positive.
No, Governor Greg Abbott is not going to die. He has access to fucking Regeneron treatment. He's just not going to die. Also, evil people never die. So, you know. What is happening with this fucking thing, dude? Evil people simply do not die.
Positivity in the middle of pandemic and then dispersing them all around the country. Why don't we go back to the stay in Mexico policy, the border wall building, and end process and release and protect our borders? I mean, they seem to be things that could be simply resolved.
Yeah. Well, nothing simple. You know, the things we won on the border were won through courts. It took a long time, and then all of a sudden they gave them up. We had to make deals with Mexico. The president of Mexico is a great guy. We're very friendly, and we did a deal. I had 28,000 soldiers paid for by Mexico, his soldiers
you really
on the border.
COVID is fake? Real question? No, dude.
Not letting people in. And we didn't pay anything. I promised not to tariff his cars during this period, but that's okay, whatever it takes. But we didn't have people coming in during the construction of the wall. And the wall worked. I mean, we built almost 500 miles. They could finish it in a month. Now they're paying billions of dollars not to finish the wall. It's not even believable. And the contractors that haven't been, I mean, they're just having a field day. But when you look at all of this stupidity, I don't think our country can take it, and I don't think our people can take it either.
Let me ask you, the American people now are watching, what will be a 25 to 30-year record of illegal immigrants coming into the country when you had set a 25-year low of illegal immigrants coming into the country. The American people now, many are angry about mask mandates, vaccine passports, but none of these restrictions are being applied to people that are not respecting our laws, our borders.
Bro, what are you saying? Like, well, I don't understand. Like, that's not even true. And you can't literally argue on the one hand that there should be no mask mandates or vax mandates and then be like, immigrants need to get vaccinated. You're like, doesn't that literally destroy the argument? Like, they should, by the way. I do agree that immigrants coming into the country should be vaccinated. Okay, absolutely, 100%. I'm totally on board with that. But, like, on the one hand, you're like, vaccines don't work. They're scary. Don't do it. What is happening? What the fuck is happening here?
Borders and our sovereignty. How do you explain that? And do you support the restrictions on Americans but not illegal immigrants?
Yeah. First of all, on the border, it's not 25 years. It's the worst in history. It's not the worst in 25 years. We've never had a situation where massive caravans of people are pouring into our country. So
Donald Trump should ask him what a breakthrough case means. Like, why do you specify what a breakthrough case is? Does your audience understand the difference between a breakthrough case and like a regular COVID case? No. Just fucking drop that in there and move on. Why specify a breakthrough COVID case when you're talking about Governor Greg Abbott? Breakthrough, as in it broke through the immunity shield that the vaccine offers.
So it's the worst ever. As far as the vaccine, I'm very proud of it. I pushed the FDA like they've never been pushed. They don't like me too much. I'm not so sure I like them. Very bureaucratic. But I got them to approve a great vaccine, 3 of them, in a period of less than 9 months. I was told by Fauci and everybody else it would take 3 to 5 years, and probably 5, and it probably won't even happen. And I got it done in less than 9 months. So I consider it a great achievement. I actually think that if we didn't get it done, worldwide, you would have another Spanish flu, which killed almost 100 million people, according to...
Wait, hold on. So, wait. So COVID was real? Wait, what the fuck? So COVID was deadly. Bro, this motherfucker literally got COVID and was still like, it's actually not that bad. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. And now that the vaccines are out, he's like, I made the vaccines. I made them myself. Which I have no problem with. I'm glad he's saying this. I will admit. I will admit that this is actually a good-ass thing to say. I don't give a fuck if he literally says, like, I spat in every vaccine vial. You know, I put a little piece of my cum in it. Like, whatever gets the stands going to go out and, like, actually fucking get the vaccine. Which they won't. They boo him even when he talks about the vaccine.
To history,
Mr. President.
50 to 100. They don't even know. But I would...
Wait, why is Sean Hannity trying to fucking stop him?
I would love people to take the vaccine. In the meantime, wear your mask if you want. But, again, you want your freedoms. You have to have your freedoms.
Let me, I know the obvious question as we head with the last minute of the program available is, are you considering a run again in 2024? I'll let you answer it any way you want, but I'll go back to our original question. Now that we have all these Americans behind enemy lines, do you have, in the 45 seconds we have left, what?
Someone in the chat, before we get to hear this, someone in the chat literally said Pfizer and Moderna are not a part of Operation Warp Speed. And I feel like that's like the peak of liberalism, where you just start denying like very obvious truths just because it's like Donald Trump. Why do you think we have like half of the world's Pfizer and Moderna supplies when everyone else is using AstraZeneca, Sinovac, and other vaccines? It's because they were absolutely a part of fucking Operation Warp Speed. That was it. They were.
What would you do now to help with that specific situation?
So because the campaign finance laws are extremely complicated and unbelievably stupid, I'm actually not allowed to answer that question. Can you believe it? I'd love to answer it. But let me put it this way. I think you'll be...
Chat. We did give money to Pfizer as a part of Operation Warp Speed. Just because BioNTech, a German company, came up with the vaccine doesn't mean that it wasn't a part of the fucking operation. Okay? Of course we did. We gave them a fuckload of money. BioNTech is a German company that actually created the mRNA COVID vaccine. Actually, it's a German-Turk couple, husband and wife, scientists, that came up with it. But we gave a fuckload of money to Pfizer so that we could, you know, secure some of that for ourselves. Okay?
be happy, and I think a lot of our friends will be very happy, but I'm not actually allowed to answer it. It makes it very difficult if I do. So, people, you're going to be happy because I love this country and I hate to see what's happening to it.
Would you be willing to get on the phone with the people that you gave very harsh words to and talk to them on behalf of Americans that are behind enemy lines tonight? We have 15 seconds.
Well, I would, but, you know, they're not into words, they're into strength. And the strength is the president because he controls. You know, I rebuilt the military. We had an obsolete military. We had old jets. We had 45-year-old jets. We rebuilt this military and created Space Force. But the answer is I'd like to help, but you have to do it through the strength of the president's office. And Biden has dissipated that strength. We are no longer respected.
We're out of time, sir. Thank you for your time. We'll have you back soon. We appreciate you being with us. Laura is going to have a great show next. Don't miss it. Straight ahead.
Bro, Trump got played off, dude. That's crazy. We gave money to Pfizer. The money that Pfizer got was conditional on FDA approval. We gave money to Moderna for R&D. We did not give money to Pfizer that was... We did not give money to Pfizer that was like actually a part of their R&D process, but it was more so a promise that they were going to get money on FDA approval. Okay, that's the difference. But it was still that funding was still a part of Operation Warp Speed. I don't give a fuck that like Pfizer spokesmen are saying, "Oh, we are actually, we're actually distancing ourselves from the Trump administration." Yeah, we gave them money to buy the fucking vaccines. Sometimes you give off anti-vax vibes, bro. What? Yeah, we gave them guaranteed purchase orders if approved, which is why we have so many fucking vaccines. On July 22nd, Operation Warp Speed placed an advanced purchase order of $2 billion with Pfizer to manufacture 100 million doses of a COVID-19 vaccine for the use in the United States when the vaccine was shown to be safe, effective, licensed, and authorized by the FDA. On December 23rd, the Trump administration announced that he had ordered another 200 million doses from Pfizer. I literally stopped sending me the New York Times article. I know what they're talking about. I know what the article contains. I'm telling you. I'm literally telling you. Well, whatever did it, the U.S. got almost all of Moderna's early production, but not Pfizer's. No, we got a fuckload of Pfizer's early production, too. What are you talking about? Remember that cringe anti-vax music video you showed? It unironically made me get vaxxed. I got my second dose today. Hell yeah, dude. Pfizer CEO Albert Bourla said he decided against taking funding from the U.S. government's Operation Warp Speed for development of the vaccine because I wanted to liberate our scientists from any bureaucracy that comes with having the reports and agree how we are going to spend money in parallel or together. Pfizer did enter an agreement with the U.S. for eventual distribution of the vaccine. Dude, I'm telling you. It's literally like they still got a fucking fat contract from the American government, which is what everyone else did as well. Like, it's literally semantics. The argument that you're making right now is semantics. And also remember, you said Pfizer and Moderna. They took selective funding because you can't claim R&D tax credits on funded research. How many Americans disinformed? Don't want to believe science. Love from Denmark. Dude, a lot of fucking dumbasses, dude. It's really sad. Why are you so against the Democrats? Genuine question. I'm a fucking conservative, dude. NS contact would like to check your vibe. Dude, you guys are bringing up stuff that I talked about today. I said fuck NS contact too earlier today on the podcast. Dude, there's so much content on the podcast. I'm really excited for you guys to see it. Like, actually excited for it. They finally started offering $100 to get vaxxed, and now all my unvaxxed coworkers are getting vaxxed. Wait, really? That's awesome.